Hello, welcome to Chapter 10, Lesson 8. Today we're going to be talking about multiplication as scaling. Okay, so like when you look at a map, they use a scale factor. So that means they're taking the actual world and making it smaller, but it's kind of like, it's proportionate to how it actually is in the real world, if that makes any sense. Let's read this definition. Maybe this will be better. Scaling is the process of resizing a number when you multiply it by a fraction that is greater than or less than 1. So let's jump in. I'm going to try and make this a little shorter. I'm sorry for a 20-minute video. I was not intending to make 20 minutes yesterday, so I'll try to make this shorter today. Multiply the number 2 by 3 fractions greater than 1. Okay, so if I wanted to take 2 times 1 and 1/5, so I'm going to circle up and get 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 more is 6/5 times 2 over 1. That's 6, looks like a fish. 6 times 2 would be 12 over 5. And 12 divided by 5 is 2. Minus 10, 2 and 2/5. Okay, oh, look at that. Do you notice this, anything, guys? I multiplied 2 times 1, and I multiplied 1/5 times 2, which is 2/5. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Let's see if it works the same for this. 1 1/2. So if I circle up, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3 halves. So if I take 2 times 3 halves, I'm going to do 2 times 3 is 6. Well, let's reduce. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So I'm just going to get the regular old number 3, right? 3 over 1 is the same as 3. What you think about that? 1 1/2 doubled. 1 doubled is 2. Half doubled is 1. 2 and 1 makes 3. Look at this, you guys. All right, now I'm going to circle up here. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7/4 times 2 over 1. Okay, let's reduce. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So I'm going to get 7 over 2. So if I take 7 divided by 2 is 3 and 1/2. 3 and 1/2. Okay, so plot 2 on the number line, then plot the products on the number line. So here, okay, so where would 2 and 2/5 be? So that would be about 2 1/2, guys, okay? So let's go to 2 1/2. I'm going to call this 2 and 2/5. It should be a little less than 2 1/2. 3, so I have 2 1/2, 3, and 3 and 1/2 would be right there. Compare the product. Circle whether the products are greater than, less than, or equal to 2. They're all greater than 2, aren't they? When I'm multiplying 2 by a number that is greater than 1, right, because all these are bigger than 1, not much, but they're all bigger than 1, then I get a number that is bigger than 1, right? So multiplying a number by a fraction greater than 1 results in a product that is greater than the number. Let's take. Okay, so 2 times 1/4. So now we're multiplying by fractions that are less than 1. Okay, so if I take 2 times 1/4, I'm going to go 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So if I multiplied 2 times 1/4 and I got a half. So 2 times 1/2, which we know is the same as dividing by 2, we're going to get 1, aren't we? Right? Because 2 over 1 times 1 over 2, I'm going to get 2 over 2, or if I simplified, I'd get 1 over 1, which is just 1. Now 2 times 5/8, which again, 1/4, 1/2, and 5/8 are all less than one whole number, right? So 2 times 5/8, 2 over 1 times 5 over 8. I can divide by 2 and get 4. Divide by 2 and get 1. So I'm going to get 5/4 or 1 and 1/4, right? And so that's again less than 2. So here's the number I started with, and when I multiplied numbers that were less than 2, I got 1/2, 1, and 1 and 1/4, which would be right here. 1 and 1/4. It's a little more than 1. So they were all less than 2. Okay, so here I have less than 2. Multiplying a number by a fraction less than 1 results in a product that is less than the number. All right, now we have to predict whether the product of 3 times a number, which is 4/5, which is less than 1, is it going to be greater, less than, or equal to 3? Explain. So we know if we're going to multiply a whole number by a number that is less than 1, it is going to be less than 3. Why? Because 4/5 is less than 1. That's going to be kind of our explanation there. Predict whether the product, which is multiplying, of 2 and 2 1/5 is going to be greater, less than, or equal to 2. Well, look at this. 2 and 1/5 is bigger than 1 because 2 is bigger than 1, right? So 2 plus a little bit, 1/5 is going to be greater than 2. So greater than 2. 2, okay, because 2 and 1/5 is greater than 1. So that means the answer is going to be greater than what we're multiplying it by. Without multiplying, circle whether each product is greater than, less than, or equal to the whole number. Here's our whole number. I'm going to multiply it by 1/7. 1/7 is less than 1. So that means my answer is going to be less than 4. 12, there's my whole number, 2 and 5/6. 2 and 5/6 is greater than 1. So that means my answer is going to be greater than 12. Marisol spent 4/5 of her allowance on a pair of jeans. If she received $15 for her allowance, did Marisol spend more, less than, or equal to $15 on the jeans? So here's what we're looking at. 4/5 is less than 1. So that means she spent less than $15. Less than $15 because 4/5 is less than 1. All right, so D used 2 1/3 cups of sugar for her cake recipe. If the amount of sugar the container holds is 3 times the amount she used, does the container hold more, less than, or equal to the amount that D used? Okay, so here's how much she used. If I'm going to multiply that number by 3, which is bigger than 1, then I know it's going to be greater than. Greater than 2 1/3, which is what she used. Because 3 is greater than 1. And if we're multiplying any number by a number that's bigger than 1, it's going to be bigger than that number. If I multiply it by a number smaller than 1, it's going to be smaller than that number. Derek ran 3/8 of a race before he had to stop for a break. If the race is 6 miles long, did Derek run more than, less than, or equal to 6 miles? Okay, so if we look at this fraction here, it is less than 1. How do I know? Because there isn't a 1 in front. If there's 1, it'd be greater than 1. If there is no 1, then that means it's less than 1. Okay, so he ran less than 6 miles, right? Because if the race is 6 miles and he hasn't ran the whole race, then we know he ran less than 6 miles. How do I know that? Because 3/8 is less than 1. All right, so here we need to find the one that doesn't belong. Circle the multiplication expression that does not belong based on scaling. And explain. Okay, so here's what I'm noticing. 6 times a number bigger than 1. 6 times a number bigger than 1. 6 times a number less than 1. 6 times a number bigger than 1. So what was the only one that did not fit? 1/2 times 6. Why doesn't it belong? It is multiplying 6 by a number less than 1. Okay. Vocabulary check here quick. Fill in the blank with the correct term or number to complete the sentence. Blank is the process of resizing a number when you multiply by a fraction that is greater than or less than 1. That's called scaling. Yep. Scaling, multiplying a bigger or less than 1. All right, that's all I have for you for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.